Thank you so much, and good morning to the viewers. As you have already heard, my name is Kennedy Mandaza. I'm a Zimbabwean. I was born in a peasant family where we did most of our farming on a small piece of land that was given to our father. And it is from that piece of land that he realized resources that were needed in order for us to go to school. And after my Form 4, I immediately was taken into the education sector, where that was in 1984. So I started right at the age of 19 teaching mathematics and the geography at times, but predominantly I have been teaching mathematics for over 30 years in high school up to Form 6. And I also had a short stint as a lecturer in a teacher training college, where I was also lecturing in mathematics, trying to, or teaching people, students how to teach mathematics. And after that short stint in the teacher education, I then decided to come to South Africa, where I went to teaching mathematics in high school. And I've been in South Africa for almost 15 years now. I've had the opportunity to be in administration for a lengthy period as a principal, as an HOD, as an academic director, and but more importantly, most of my life I've been interacting with children, teaching them, and I see education as a very important tool, particularly when it comes to the issue of maths and science.
Thank you very much for that. So how has this period been for you? Because that has been quite a long time, and you have moved from different level and different layer in the educational sector, both in Zimbabwe and also in South Africa. So how has this period been for you?
Well, when we got into the teaching field in the 1980s, a teacher was quite respectable. Teaching as a profession was quite revered, but my apologies.
Yeah, it's okay. Please go on. Some of these things can happen.
I was saying that during the course of when I got into the teaching field, the teaching profession was quite revered. Teachers were respected, and teaching, as it were, was coming from the heart. And this is what brought me into teaching, not necessarily the remuneration that comes with teaching, because if you talk about one wanting to be rich, you don't need to be in the teaching profession. But if you have the passion to make sure that you educate the nation, you assist in the development of children, then you have to be in the education sector. And that is what has seen me through for more than 30 years. It has been the desire, the passion to make sure that I assist in the development of the young children, so that they can become useful citizens in our communities. So over the years, we have seen changes in the teaching field because of the liberalization that have been taking place as a result of independence in some countries, where certain things that we were doing then in the 1980s or pre-independence could no longer be done. And what we have seen is the deterioration, particularly in the area of discipline. And this has impacted so negatively, particularly when it comes to the art of teaching, where you need to grapple most of the time with the ill discipline that is coming from the students, and at times also from the teachers who, over the years, we have seen people who have graduated to become teachers, not because they wanted to be teachers, but because they have nowhere else to go other than coming into the teaching field. And we have now seen people, the majority of them, sadly, who are not passionate in terms of teaching, and as a result, the delivery of the content lacks time, and the outcomes are not as desirable as one would have expected from passionate educators that we've had for a very long time before the advent of what we have now.
All right, Mr. Kennedy, you see, somebody will become curious now, try to understand how did we move from being passionate about education, or even as a teacher, be passionate about delivering to the student, and not be passionate as we might have it now, according to you. How did we move to that level? Is it because we lost interest in education, in passing knowledge to the children who will become the leader of tomorrow? I don't understand that part very well. Can you sort of clear it for us, please?
When most of the African countries became independent, there was need for us to expand our education system. And it was inevitable because the education system that we had pre-independence in most of the African countries was designed in such a way that we have very few people that would graduate up to Form 6, for instance, and proceed to university. But when we got independence in most of the African countries, there was now need for us to expand and accommodate most of the children that were left behind pre-independence because of the nature and the design of the system that was there, that did not want to see the majority of the African children getting educated. So there was a deliberate policy by most of the governments to make sure that we have almost every child from an African community going into education, or going to school rather. So what it meant is that we needed more infrastructure, we needed more manpower, which was not readily available because then the system was designed in such a way that very few African children should go to school. And we did not therefore have the manpower. So at many a times we have had to bring in workforce that is not necessarily trained to be teachers. And over time, with the increase in the number of schools, with the increase in the number of children that are now going to school, we have also seen that there is need to increase, to expand the workforce in the education sector. And to do so, then you have to bring in as many people as is possible. Among them, people that may not necessarily have dreamt to become teachers at some point. And these are the people that tend to compromise the teaching that is supposed to take place because they are not driven by the passion, but by the desire that one should have in order to join a particular profession. But why then do we have such kind of people joining the teaching profession? It is because in other sectors in our economies, they have not also grown at the same rate that one would have expected those that are graduating into the into workforce to be absorbed. So the only sector that currently tends to absorb most of the people graduating from universities is the education sector. And that in itself means that we are having in the education sector people who are coming in to join as workers, not necessarily as teachers. And when we have people that are just workers who are interested in what they get at the end of the day, we do not have the kind of commitment that the teachers that went into the teaching profession out of desire, out of passion, would deliver the content and what we are supposed to do in the teaching field. So that's one area that has brought us to where we are today. other besides the policy issues that I think we will be looking at later.
Thank you very much for that, Jack Kennedy. I really appreciate that so much. It is important to look at this aspect of the argument also. You see, it's something that we are actually also looking at in West Africa. That is a strong line of conversation amongst some Nigeria in the area of education, and also in South Africa. It's something that is we cannot underestimate it because it is very, very important.